I don't know what happened there, but apparently we was unable to connect. And then I upgraded, and I did an initial. I think I did like my thoughts on like once I upgraded. Um, and then I never did anything else. I never did like right. I've had these a month, and right. I've had these blah blah. And I think I've had these about 6 months now. Believe it or not, like I don't even know where the time has gone. So I got these late September, early October, and I've obviously had it ever since this RX. But I want to upgrade and kind of not upgrade. I want to update and show you or talk about and show you all of my sort of like equipment in 2024. So what am I using? What am I mixing on? What am I using for DJing? And really, it's very quite basic, but it's quite technical at the same time. If you're just getting in to DJing, so I was trying to think of like the best way that I could like position the camera, and it was like quite a hard thing to do to get all the equipment in view. But we'll start with the main one. We'll start with my Pioneer XDJ RX. Now, as I say, I got this in October, sort of early October, I think, and I picked it up from a old friend who essentially was he was selling and he had it on the market for ages. And at the time when he first put it on the market, I wanted to buy it. I was so like, I need to buy an RX because I'd come to a point with the new marks where the new marks were starting to show a little bit of wear and tear. But at the same time, I felt like I'd used the new marks for all I needed to use them for. So the new marks, they were very basic. So for example, down here on the RX, we have like an effects button, and we can add like flanges, and we can add like echoes, and we can do delays, and we can do beat rolls. When I was using the new marks, there was none of that. The mixer was very basic, even though it was a 4 channel mixer. It was very basic, and it didn't have them effects on it. And when I first got the new marks, the pair of DJ decks, they were just right for me because I was just kind of like really learning the art of beat matching and really learning the art of mixing. And when you're doing that, putting effects on your mixes they don't really matter because why you're worrying about putting a flanger on when you can't beat match. So at the time, the new marks, they made a lot of sense, and they were nice for what they were, and they're really good for beginners and stuff like that. And over time, like I say, I just not to blow, not to blow smoke up myself, but I got better at DJing. I picked up things and I improved, and as I did pick up things and improve, the new marks they just sadly became sort of like where I was kind of feeling like they were getting outdated for me, and I was starting to play in clubs, and then I was using stuff like this in clubs, and I kind of felt like, yeah, I can use this equipment now, I can utilize this, so that is what I did. So I got the Pioneer XDJ RX, so it's the first one. So, well, there was a Pioneer XDJ, I think it was RR or something like that, and it was a lot more smaller than this. It had like some smaller jog wheels, and then this was kind of like, I guess, what was known as the RX1. So there's like an RX2 and an RX3 now, and there's like an XZ, and I love the XZs. I'd love an XZ, although they are absolutely massive. I'd love something like an RX3 though. That'd be something really cool as well. But anyway, we're going off topic. So yeah, so I got this from a friend. I paid £900 for it. Well, I didn't actually. Someone bought it for me very kindly. Someone came into a bit of money and kind of did me a bit of a favour, and it didn't actually even want me to pay him back, which was a crazy thing. So anyway, cutting the long story short, I paid 900 quid. I got the XDJ RX. I will show you in just a second. I got this deck saver. So this is you put it over the decks when you're not using the decks, and it's supposed to stop dust from getting onto the decks and stuff, and it's just supposed to, keep it clean and tidy, and and stopping, buttons and things from getting knocked when you're not using the RX. And then I got a big flight case, which I aren't going to show you because it's very heavy and I can't fit it round here. But a flight case for moving it around, so if I'm transporting the piece of equipment, I can move it around. And believe me when I say it, if you've not carried an RX in a flight case, it is one hell of a heavy thing to carry. So for anybody who has an XDJ, Pioneer XDJ XZ, which is like an even bigger model of this, and they've got 4 channels, and if you carry that around in a flight case, then I will take my hats off to you, because I struggle with this. And I now, where I live, have to take this down like 3 flights of stairs to get it outside. And even the RX itself, it has a bit of weight to it. So you can imagine it in like almost like a really big sort of heavy duty case that, stops it from getting damaged. You can imagine that, it's going to be a heavy piece of equipment. So what's my initial thoughts then on this? Before I got this piece of equipment, I had used this equipment before. So this actual controller, who I bought it off, they used it in the second room for an event in Hull called Stomping that I played for before. So I've had the luxury of going on this piece of equipment before, and I have also been on it at my friend's house as well. So I was, in some sense, I was a little familiar already with the piece of equipment, but obviously when you're in a nightclub and when you're doing a set, you're not studying every single thing this controller can do, because you're there to play a set. You're on a time limit to playing an hour's set, and you need to mix your tunes and play your set, not sort of sit there and think, what does this button do, and what happens if I click this? You know what I mean? So having it at home and owning it myself, it gave me that really good piece of time, to just study and try the different buttons, and work things out and try different things, and just have a little play around with this, and then kind of see sort of, oh well, actually, I like the fact that it can do this. So my thoughts on the XDJRX is, I absolutely love it. I'm not gonna stand here and give you the whole review. These things are, they're quite a few years old now, and there's plenty of people online that have done like proper reviews of them, and I'm a bit late to jump on that bandwagon now when we're on the RX3. But just my personal thoughts. I like the thing. I like all the features it uses, and they are going for around 500 quid upwards now. So if you are DJing and you want to take that initial next step, and you think like, as a DJ, I could utilize some effects, or I could just do a little bit more within my mixes, and just want to take that initial next step, this is a great piece of equipment to do that. So I highly recommend it on sort of that thing. So I use this most days, whether I'm doing a live stream, whether I'm just having a mix for myself, whether I'm recording a mix, or whether I take this to a party or like a gig. And in all honesty, I haven't taken this to many gigs. I don't really, in a lot of ways, I don't really like taking it to gigs, because it's risk of it getting knocked and getting damaged. And at the moment, I haven't really been taking many kind of like birthday bookings and like wedding bookings. As a matter of fact, I turned one down tonight, just purely for the fact that I don't feel prepared to do them kind of gigs. Like my speakers are not up to scratch. I don't really have any of the like lighting. When it comes to like requests and stuff, I'm limited to whatever's on the USB stick. And then like trying to plug your phone into one of the channels on here, which it does work, but then if you end up in like some venue and the signal's really bad and they haven't a Wi-Fi you can connect to, and people are requesting and you can't play it, and you know you've only got so many tracks in a folder on a USB stick, you can become quite screwed. And I just personally don't want to be in that situation. If I had all the lighting and if I had the money to spend a good sort of 5-6 grand on just getting like a good top of the range laptop or all the lighting, smoke machines, that the full works. And if I obviously drove, then I would probably take that more seriously, because I do actually enjoy the vibe of doing them kind of gigs. Like, I don't hate them, but they're definitely not as fun as like turning up to a rave and plugging your stick in and playing a bounce set or like a clubland set. So I've loved this. Like I say, I use it live streaming, recording, and I use it most days. Now, what is really cool about this thing, and this will move us on to our next piece of equipment, and this is one of my favourite features of this whole entire unit, believe it or not. Not the fact that it can do effects or the fact that you can loop, but just the simple fact that I can flick a switch and I can use the mixer on like another device. So, for example, let's say I've got this here, but let's just say, I don't know, I decided that I want to buy some CDJs, because everybody loves CDJs, and sometimes you've got all them old discs that you want to play. Well, you can actually flick a couple of switches on the mixer of this RX, and then this will become the mixer for the CDJs, and you can do the same for vinyl turntables, which is going to move us ever so nicely onto this piece of equipment here that you can't really fully see due to how I've had to place the camera. But this is this is one of my Reloop RP 2000M, and this is my vinyl turntable. And these reloops are pretty amazing, if I don't say so myself. So before the reloops, I had a pair of Sonys, believe it or not, very old Sonys. I got them again from a friend, and I played. I paid something, only like 40 quid for them at the time, and sadly, I'm gonna have to shout at my mum on this one. She actually broke one of the turntables. Another story to go into, and if you just hold the fort, I'm gonna have to. I do apologise when we're live, but I'm gonna have to pop to the toilet, and then I'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about these amazing reloops. Okay, deepest apologies about that. You know what they say: when you've got to go, you've got to go. Yeah, so my Reloop RP 2000s, absolutely amazing. So, like I say, I had the Sonys before, and my mum broke one of the Sonys, and then I got a message from another friend who was selling his reloops, and I have like around just over 1,000 vinyl records, ranging from dance music, house music, trance music, hardcore. There's some bounce. I think there might be a slight little bit of drum and bass, but hardly. Maybe like just one or two records at the most. Hard house, if I didn't mention that, and just thought like I don't want to kind of be without turntables, so I got this offer from my friend, and again it was actually a really cheap offer, and he only wanted 100 quid for the pair, and the only issue is they didn't have any needles, so but I was like, do you know what, that is completely fine, because I am going to snap these up. So I did, and luckily one of the turntables, the one that hadn't broken from the Sony's, I had a head shell on it, and I've still got it now, and it still served me well. I could do with upgrading, but this is a little Technics head shell here with a needle on it, and this has done me really well. So I've had this on the Sony pretty much ever since buying the Sony. It came with the Sony when I bought it, and now it's been on the reloops, and really good. But I do need a new one. It is starting to just show a little bit of signs of wear and tear, but it still does actually work for the most part, which is really good. So I snapped them up, and like I say, I already had that needle from the Sony's, so I could at least get one turntable going, which was good. And then I think the next time I got paid, I just went on eBay and picked up another head shell, which was probably one of the worst mistakes I ever did, because I bought a cheap head shell, and I paid something like £16.99 for it. And when I say cheap, it was cheap. It wouldn't, your record. Getting the balance right of the tone arm was just absolutely really just like the hardest thing to do, and it wouldn't you would try and set the balance like so much, and like the record would still jump, and there was just no weight to the head shell, whereas this one gives it a bit of weight, whereas the other one, the cheap one, it just didn't. And I think I don't know if I've binned it now, but I had it somewhere, and the needle snapped in it eventually. So I'm in the process. I need to get another head shell, but I want to get one that's a little bit more expensive. But what I'm going to do is bite the bullet, and I'm just going to get two, and then I'm just going to upgrade both, and then I can have like a proper, like a full-on vinyl mix, and have a proper good, because I haven't done a proper vinyl mix in ages. I've mixed vinyl into digital, but it's not the same. It's not the same. Doesn't work. As it doesn't sound as good. Going from going from a record to digital, it's so much better going from a record to another record. But you can mix into digital, and it is an option when you just want to spin a couple of records in your set. So really good. Got this reloop slip mat on it, and then on the other turntable, which is just here, there is a FFRR Records label slip mat, and I had this one from the Sony's, and I have another slip mat somewhere as well. I think I have one that says, I can't remember what it says, but it's something in blue writing. I don't know if it's something digital or something like that, or some website. I can't fully remember what it is, and then I think I have one that says Sony on it as well, from when I had the Sonys. But I would like to get some custom slip mats at some point. These are good, don't get me wrong, but they look a little bit mucky. They could probably do with a clean, but I think I'd rather just get something, get some custom ones made at some point, and just sort of go from there really. But they're really good. They're really nice to mix on, and really great way to play vinyl as well. The pitch is really nice on them as well. you won't see it because the camera cuts it off, but it's a really nice pitch control on it. And it's got the speeds, you know, obviously 33 and 45 RPM for the speed of your records, and they're just a really great bit of equipment. And it's great that I can use the mixer on the RX as like the mixer for the vinyls, and I can do a full vinyl mix without having to kind of like purchase a separate mixer and then, you know, unplug the RX and plug a separate mixer, and it kind of just makes it a little bit more better. So next up, we'll move on to the headphones that I'm using. So the headphones are Sennheisers. I can't remember fully which Sennheisers they are actually. It doesn't actually say on them. But I've got these from Argos at the time, and I think I got them about 2 years ago. Which, you know, I've used them for quite a while. I picked them up. Actually, I say 2 years. No, it'd be just over a year. So I got them in January of 23. I remember it well. I had a gig on at the night, and I'd just literally been paid from work as well, like the day before that gig. The gig was on the Saturday. I got paid on the Friday, and I just thought, you know what, I've got a gig. It's a new start to the year. It's the first gig of the year. I'm going to treat myself to some new headphones. I got these Sennheisers, and they've done me really well actually. You know, they're really good for mixing, and they've been a really good pair of headphones. However, now they are starting to show signs of wear and tear, and even the little aux lead on it has sadly bent a little bit just over time, and they've been knocked and the wire's been caught. And one bad thing that I do, which I don't recommend doing it, but I do it, and I don't really understand really why I do it, and stuff like that, but I do. I use these not just as DJ headphones, but I use them as headphones like all the time. So if I'm walking to work, I use these. You know, if I'm going traveling anywhere, I put these on and just listen to like music off my phone. And that is probably one reason why they kind of like have wear and tear and stuff, because they get used all the time. So ideally, I need just to get a pair of DJ headphones that I am just going to keep for DJing, and then another pair of headphones that will be just like, you know, if I'm walking to work kind of thing. Which I'd probably keep these for that, because they do still work to an extent, but sometimes you do have to wiggle the wire as the sound goes a bit dodgy. But you know, I think, you know, next time I get a pair of headphones, they will just be for the decks, and they'll be for nothing else. And you know, I'll just keep them for mixing at home, and keep them for gigs, and try and keep them so they don't, you know, wear and tear, and they're not getting constantly used all the time, and you know, dragged from one place to another. But these have been like really good headphones for me. They've been absolutely amazing. I love them. They're absolutely fantastic, and they do the job. You know, and I've loved them. Again, I can't remember what make of Sennheisers they are, and they've also, I don't know if you can see. I'll try and bring them a little bit closer, but there's just here it's kind of broke a little bit, but I don't know if the camera picks it up or not. But it's kind of broke a little bit, like just some of the plastic, like the outer plastic. As you can actually see here, I've actually just broke a bit off because where it was like quite sharp, but there's a little black bit here that's like just come off. So now there's a little, like I say, I don't know how well you can see it, but just there, there's a little broken bit. So I definitely need an upgrade, that is for sure. So next up, we will move on to my microphone. Now this is a Citronic microphone, and it's been, I've not had this actually that long. I bought it only, I'm trying to think when it would be. It would be late February, early March. I think it was actually like the week commencing where we would like go from February into March, and I had a gig in Scotland. I was DJing, I was MCing, so I thought I need a new mic to do that. This mic has sadly the wire has just started to go a little bit dodgy on it. Someone MC'd on it last couple of Fridays ago, and well, nearly 2 weeks ago, and now the wire's gone a little bit dodgy. So I need to get another wire for it, but that I'm aware of. You can hear it crackling now, but that I'm aware of the actual mic still works itself. It's just it's just the lead. Um, so this is really good. I've not had it that long. I've not done too much with it. I've not really gigged with it, so I can't really tell you sort of like from a gigging perspective, what it's like. When I did actually go to Scotland, we ended up using a wireless mic, and then it was only sort of right at the end of the night that the mic just ran out of battery, and the wireless one, and it was just a real sort of like last minute thing, and it was just quicker to plug this in than take backs off things and put batteries in, and so I just plugged this in and probably used it for about 5-10 minutes at the most, and it sounded good from what I could tell. But this is a Citronic DM15, and I think I paid about something like somewhere around 20 quid. It might have been like 21 quid or something, or something like that. And I just literally just needed it, so I picked it up because it made sense to get one. And I don't know if I mentioned before, but I think I paid something like 40 quid for these headphones. I paid somewhere around 40-50 quid for these, and got them from Argos. And then finally, last but not least, we move on to the speakers. Now these speakers, I'll move the camera a bit just so you can see it in the shot, but there's one of the speakers there. The main one is there, but you can't see it. Now these are my Von YX 400 watt PA speakers, and I've had these for a long time. This is, as a matter of fact, these speakers are the oldest piece of equipment that I now own. I've had the longest. So I got these all the way back in 2000, and it was either 2017 or 18. I got these, and I got a little 4-channel mic mixer with them at the same time, and then I just essentially at the time I wanted to push myself and get some bookings to MC, and I thought, like, if I'm going to do this, I might need to take my own speakers and stuff to like parties and stuff at the time, and I got these Von YXs, and they have been absolutely fantastic. They've been really good. Sadly, about 2-3 years ago now, maybe even longer, I took them to a house party. I got very stupidly drunk, had loads of vodka, and decided that I was going to essentially, help pack everything away at the end of the party, and dropped one of the speakers. And as I dropped it, like it cracked. Like everything still works on it, but it cracked. And at the time, I was absolutely wrecked. And then all kinds of regret came into my head. Like, why did I take these speakers to the party? I rang a friend up crying at the time, proper like absolutely arseholed, and just totally gutted that I dropped them. And then the next day, I was a bit hungover, but I remember like just looking at the speakers, and kind of think actually that they haven't cracked as bad as I thought they had, and kind of like being real like apologetic for the way I kicked off, and yeah, and I just kind of ever since then they've had tape on them, but they still work really well. They still turn on, they still play sound. All the original wires are still there for them, apart from like I've changed like the little RCA leads over the a couple of times. But the main leads that like power up the speakers, and the lead that go, I forget what the name of the lead, but it goes from one speaker to the other speaker, so they both play sound. And that's the same lead that I've had from you, and they've served me really good. However, I do need to upgrade. They are starting to get a little bit long in the tooth now. They still work, but just if I'm gonna really get like some better sound and stuff, I do need to do some upgrades and stuff like that. But in all honesty, they've served me really good. So I can definitely vouch that they have served me really good in that sense. And absolutely fantastic piece of equipment, which I'm really buzzed about. So yeah, so that is my speakers, and I think that about really concludes everything. We've kind of touched up on most of the equipment. In all fairness, at least most of the equipment that I use, and that I have, and that's all on this table or on the speaker stands. So yeah, this has been my update to my equipment, 2024. I'm gonna come round here and take a seat and grab the camera. Um, Bear with me. Here we are. We're back to where I normally sit, where you normally see me stream, and the equipment just sits over there. Look, and I stand behind there, and push buttons and play music. Button pushers. That's what a lot of us DJs actually get called. Button pushers. I suppose there is another piece of equipment I could talk to you about. It's not really part of the DJ equipment. It's part of my production equipment, and I can flip the camera to show you this one. So first off, I've got this really old 2-channel microphone mixer. So I use this. This controls my PC sound at the moment, and then I've got these 2 speakers here. I forget what these speakers are actually called, but they're really good for producing, and they just give you a better sound. I was just originally having it coming through here originally, the main speakers, and it was no good. The sound wasn't the best, so I get a little bit more of a better sound now when I'm producing, and it just sounds a lot better. And I got these off a friend as well. Isn't it like so mad that I think everything on my music equipment, apart from the headphones, the microphone, and the Von YX speakers, everything else has come from friends. Friends have sold stuff and I've bought off them. So my good friend the Layman, he sold me this mixer for a tenner, and then my good friend the Layman as well, he sold these speakers for 100 quid, and I had them off him, and I just thought I've got to have them, and I've never looked back really. So there we go. That is my equipment update 2024. I will do some updates if I get like any more equipment. And if anything changes drastically, I'll do some more updates. But that's my equipment in 2024. It's definitely changed a lot. It went from the 2 Von YX speakers and a 4-channel mic mixer to Newmark MDX 500s with a Newmark M6 4-channel mixer, which, believe it or not, they're actually upstairs. I donated them very kindly to a friend who was getting into mixing. So they sit upstairs, and I still actually, believe it or not, get to see them quite often. And I always just give them a little touch, I press a button, or I spin the jog wheel, just because, they were a big part of my life, and I'm kind of glad that, they didn't just go to somebody, and I'd never see them again, because they played a massive part in my whole sort of DJ career. Me learning to DJ was on them Newmarks, So it's really nice that every now and again I can go into my friend's flat and I can just see him sat there, and I can see that she respects them, looks after them, and all of that good stuff. And and it's a good feeling and it's a good vibe. So there we go. That's my equipment update 2024. Like, comment, share. We'll see you soon.